Okay, so we have, I don't know, the ones from the web, they didn't hear my intro. Okay, good. So basically Ministry of Climate is responsible for all transport policy, maritime policy, environment policy, energy policy, mobility policy, construction, living environment policy. So basically a lot of areas together. And we definitely, from Ministry of Climate perspective, are trying to find the balance in between the environment and economy, which is definitely hard task. But in one ministry, it's definitely easier to find a solution in such small country as we are. And what has also happened from 1st of July, State Fleet Agency started to work, which has also, let's say, they have 2 ships or vessels with pollution control capability, and they are going to build a new vessel. The tender was won by Estonian maritime industry, and they are building one other vessel to also assist with pollution control and to support Navy in those regard those things. And it will have a moon pool as well, because we don't actually have, as far as I know, we don't have any bigger vessels in Estonia which has moon pools. Which is problem, because a lot of ROVs and I think even divers like moon pools to go down in different conditions. So we are continuing with this. So what has happened with the surveys and studies in 2016? We knew about in our register about 372 wrecks, which then this moment 28 our analysis showed that they are potential threat to environment. And we are mapping our seafloor continuously, and sometimes mostly a lot of wrecks are founded by just regularly mapping the seafloor. So now we have updated map wreck database from 2021. We have 687 wrecks, and 55 of them are potential threat to environment. But let's say technology is improving all the time. So I'm unfortunately, I'm quite sure that there will be more wrecks to be found in the near future. And we had experiences also, which has already talked about cleaning operations of Volare and German destroyer T-30. Just to give overview about this database, it's a small selection taken out of it. The yellow is potential threat to environment, and it's like triage with humans in crisis areas, that sometimes you need to deal with the code yellow to avoid the yellow going to be red and to have imminent threat to environment. So we need to deal with those yellow ones. And for example, the T-30 was the yellow one, but one moment it started to leak, so it was actually red for those moments. So it's like triage. We have to deal with them, but there can be always surprises. So that's maybe those yellow ones shown on the Estonian map. A lot of I think for our professional divers, they know everything from the head, or Navy. It's a lot of wrecks, and it's not just one area. It's across all Estonian sea area. It's actually full of those potential threats. And I see north and west of Hiiumaa is quite surrounded of all the potential threat. And also our northern coast, plus let's say it's everywhere. So we need to deal with it. About on-site studies, there are different colors in here, but the violet ones are the ones where we have somebody has been, or government has been, or divers has been physically somehow checking those. Let's say it shows that when you see the complete number, then there is a lot of job to do for the future. Observed leakages. I don't know, was it mentioned today, but those two left ones are from Russian submarines, and the Cassandra is from UK, which was also mentioned before. And about the cleaning operations, about Volara, I was not involved with. There are a lot of people who know more about it, but about T30, this time when it started to leak, I was head of Police and Border Fleet, and I remember that it was quite a big logistic operation. And what is challenge with those operations? It's actually nowhere in our budget. It's not. I think it's not in the Navy's budget. Those emergency situations that you need to mobilize a lot of equipment quite fast, and that's a challenge to do it with your let's say yearly budget. The sums are not too big, but they're not too small. So what happened in the end, that we went to ask from current reserves that please can you compensate it now? What were our expenses? But it was just not big enough, so we had to find it from internal budget. So this is always challenging, that you don't have the budget, and that's what is all the discussions what we have today. There are so much things what we need to do in Estonia and in neighboring countries as well, and those jobs cost, and to get funding for it, it's definitely challenging. But we have some ideas in future plans how to continue with it. And how about T30 case? Of course, what was a new situation as well, that and in many cases, let's say the ships with pollution control equipment, they are prepared that the vessel sinks and there is a lot of oil in the water. At the same time, they are all, let's say, in international exercises, they are all well systematically cleaning it up. But much more worse new situation with the T30 was that it's like one drop, second drop. So it's like it's not enough to mobilize big equipment, but you have to do something. So what we did is we placed the anchors, we put the booms around it to collect it. Then you have ice conditions. You need to take them out for ice season. Then where does it go? It's under the ice. Then we had windy conditions. Then the winds blew the booms away. So it's actually seems like easy job, but it's so much logistic operation, so much human power, divers, the equipment, what you need to mobilize and use to actually minimize the risks for environment. So it was a lot of challenge. I think the booms were blown out many times by the winds. So somebody has to go there back, put them on the place, and what in the end, let's say there is no escape, as mentioned before. It's a ticking time bomb. We need to act. I'm as much as I was speaking with neighboring countries, it's like this very expensive work which needs to be done. Everybody have lack of funding for it. So, but in the end, we cannot escape the situation where we actually have to pump them empty. One moment we have to pump them empty. So my opinion is better make it systematically, and all those efforts done before definitely will support the progress. So So I don't actually, that's my subjective opinion that it's not wise to close the eyes, but let's start with the yellow ones and try to make them green to avoid getting red again. So definitely we need to act in this regard. About future plans, one thing what I'm happy for is that in the Ministry of Climate, in my new portfolio for policy making, there is a marine environment, marine economy together, and plus all the water management in Estonia, because they are all somehow connected systems. All the pollution from rivers goes to the sea, so actually pollution at the sea affects the economy affects the pollution at the sea, or a potential threat for environment. So it's good that this closed loop is in one policy making. We can discuss it with each other, and that's why one of the priorities for marine environment is to create roadmap for tackling the environmental threat posed by wrecks. This is not like general strategy. It's my expectations for my colleagues is that together with close partners from other ministries, it should be a very practical document which is showing what are the steps what we are going to make in 5 to 10 years, what wrecks, what joint projects, what surveys are critical, what capabilities are we going to grow, and really make and it's definitely important for international projects or cooperation projects with neighboring countries to be, let's say, even if we go for EU funding, it's good basis to apply for it. Also, one of the things what's expectation is given for state-led agency is develop government capacity to clean up dangerous wrecks. So definitely jointly together with private sector, all those things has to be done, but because we have so many potentially dangerous wrecks, and it is massive job. We have our government fleet. We have a lot of trained personnel, divers from private sectors to assess potential capabilities, what can be built up inside, for example, state-led agency. For example, there are many specialized models by private sector, which are actually built to pump wrecks empty and to assist this process in deeper depths or to support the divers. So actually the solutions are there. So actually now the state-led agency is making the market survey and looking deep into it to fulfill this task, which is given to them to build up this capability. So everybody in the room who has good knowledge about it or has seen those systems or has seen that it's good commercial that this system can work, or is it not working? So any ideas or experiences are welcome. So please contact state-led agency. We can share the contacts to help to get us better in this regard. And definitely we have a lot of Finns in the room. We definitely in this regard are looking for joint projects because the danger is it in the wreck in our waters or your waters? It's actually about wind speed and direction, which is telling us which one has to mobilize everything. And of course, we come to help as well. So yeah. Establish good cooperation with private diving companies. It is already quite good. I think it's always we can even more and more continue improving it to really tackle the issue of those 55 wrecks, potential threat, to minimize the risks, to pump them empty, or minimize the threat in other ways. Political priority from my minister is at least 2 pilot cleaning operation cases by the end of 2025. It's like at least, because it's always, when you don't have funding yet, it's not wise to of course I would like to put it right number 10 in there, to protect our environment and shores and national resources, but yeah, that's our aim. But the ambitions are definitely higher, and of course, where possible, to make joint operations with flag states. I understand with Russian origin wrecks it's easier, but with, for example, Cassandra and UK, definitely it will be wise to increased international cooperation in this regard with our allies. So actually, that's from our side. I'm ready to take in the questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask about future plans. Which are those 2 wrecks? You already know. You like to clean.
Yeah. No, it's let's say we have not the names yet. That's the political ambition to at least, of course, the most dangerous ones should be the worst for environment.
Okay. But you already know which are more dangerous, or do you already know what kind of activities you have to do before?
Definitely. It's not that somebody is going to directly down. It's when those it can happen that there will be 5 on the table. So we most probably will have some extra surveys to focus our actions. So I personally, I don't have the names. I'm quite sure that my colleagues from Maritime Department have their own ideas. So we have a lot of brains, a lot of knowledge in this room who can, and I'm quite sure we have different opinions which one should be first. So definitely the most important part is to find those 2 most dangerous ones, and most probably we need some extra surveys to do it. Not to go too much head on for dangerous underwater works. But I will be interested to hear from, actually, I'm giving the question back to the room. Maybe you are sitting in row with Ivar and others. That what do you think? What should be the two first vessels to pump empty in our next phase?
If there are 2 initial wrecks, then start with easy ones, not the most dangerous ones. Okay. And also, of course, it all depends how much budget do you have.
That's never-ending story. I totally agree.
Yes. Okay. I have one remark still, that we have to also understand how much fuel still is there, because that is the very important issue to study. What is the current situation? Now we know what is the condition of the wreck, for example, and so on, and something is leaking, but how much still is there? We don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling it's unavoidable to have extra studies before we continue with it. But getting back to Ivar, so if there is they will give all the funding necessary to clean up the most dangerous one, which ones you would think from your experience?
That's easy, Cassandra, because that's the one that has probably the highest amount of fuel oil on board in the northern Baltic Sea.
Okay.
But I don't think it would be wise to start with that one without any experience before, because of the difficulty of the depth and the position of the wreck, meaning that she's on her side and so on and so forth. But as a training or just the first one, the M37 should be quite an easy thing to do, actually.
Thank you.
Kaspar, we just discussed during a lunch break. Kaspar have a few very good candidates for first training. I don't know if he wants to comment by himself, but one of them is Ruhnu, which is somewhere next to Saaremaa, and I also helped to assess a bit risk. After first assessment, it's in 20-meter depth. It's relatively new ship, so it means that there still might be considerable amount of fuel, but from other hand, it is on a very sensitive area for seabirds and environment, so it's ideal candidate for these first and successful tests. But of course, Cassandra, in principle, had 950 metric tons of oil tank capacity, and it's already leaking only 50 kilometers west from Viljanti National Park with Baltic Sea one and only Stellarcidus wintering ground. So it's really must be very high priority. Another thing is that it's really true that it's very, very complicated place. But of course, I think we should try to address attention by the British government and Navy as well, and maybe we find out the solution.
Our plan is to contact them anyway. So we definitely already continue with the cooperation with the Brits, and yeah.
I can add that we have some ideas about what kind of or what the wreck should be taken care first stage, but nothing is decided yet, and we are open for discussions to Heritage Board and other agencies and interested parties. So we are not saying or carving anything to stone at this stage. So I agree with Ivar that we should, for learning experience, we should start some easy ones, which are easy to access, and maybe some newer ones, and which are not from World Wars periods, but newer ones, and if we are well trained enough, then we can start to tackle those critical ones next phase. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very optimistic. We have so much competencies in Estonia and neighboring countries that we definitely can find our focus together to find them, and meantime to find the budget as well. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. And if any extra questions, let me know or write to me. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for the surprise. We have a pollution response expert from Finland, from Finnish Border Guard, Heli Haapasaari, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is as good a surprise to me as it is to you, because unfortunately I learned today that the Finnish Environment Institute was not in position to come here. They were supposed to give a presentation on their activities regarding the wrecks, as the wrecks in Finland are now, since a couple of years, the emptying and monitoring them is under responsibility of the Finnish Environment Institute, that is under the Ministry of Environment. But so not to make it too easy, it depends on the age of the wreck on who's responsible. As we heard here, the historical over 100 years wrecks. They are under the Maritime Museum and experts over there, similar, I think, what you have. The old wrecks, so between 100 years and now, they are under responsibility of this Finnish Environment Institute and the Ministry of Environment. But then if a ship sinks today, then it's traffic administration because of the Nairobi Convention. So it is tricky. And then what Matti said about this hooligan that was on fire here, then it's too small, so the conventions don't apply. So then it's the insurance of the boat owner, and depending which boxes he has ticked in there, either the insurance company lifts the wreck or not. And this is our legislation, but then to look more into the legal things is that, okay, I'm from the border guard. Why am I here? We have, of course, we are responsible for pollution response at open sea, similar task, but the Navy has here in Estonia. But then we have tasks to monitor the sea area. So we have locations of some wrecks. We are monitoring if the diving is not allowed there. We are checking that no one stops their boats there for too long time. That's the Finnish Border Guard surveillance task. But then we are then, of course, also assisting the environmental administration in mapping when they figure out that some wreck somewhere is posing a risk to the environment or is leaking oil. We can contribute with our divers, ROVs, and we are now have also a diver's bell that allows us to dive deeper than 60 meters. So that is a new thing. But then also one more thing which we heard already, or was touched also in the earlier presentations, is the ammunitions in the wrecks, and then comes in the Navy, because Navy is the one who's taking care of the ammunitions and making it safe to go and study the wreck further for environmental damages. But cleaning the old ammo is not a priority of the Navy at all. They do it if there is a specific need for it. But then what else to say? We have a national oil and chemical response advisory committee or board that has a sub-working group for wrecks, and that is collecting the different actors from different fields, and they are working together to find out how to tackle this problem and with how to prioritize the wrecks. We have, depending on what you call a wreck, we have about 1,300 wrecks in Finnish waters, and 30 of these have been classified as high risk for the environment, either to the high amount of pollutants or a location in a very environmentally sensitive area. The Finnish Environment Institute has done this mapping of the wrecks. It's done mostly on a review of old newspaper clips and so, and then Border Guard or sometimes the Navy is assisting with the sonars and multi-beams and such in verifying if we can really locate this wreck. And then then when this database for wrecks has been and still is being developed, that is done by the environmental administration, but excuse me, they are sharing this information with the other authorities. So we have a system for the computer system for pollution response at sea, and now these wrecks are little by little being added there, which helps us in monitoring the leaking wrecks in a way that if we start to see little oil spills close to known wrecks, then we know that maybe there is a need to clink the bell and go and check what's going on over there. About the finances, the Ministry of Environment has money that specified money for the water protection, that is all the marine, but also inland water protection. It's sort of like kind of like not permanent money. They got it for some 4 years, and now I think it has been prolonged for another 4 years. And they are financing this wreck mapping, but also the wreck emptying tasks. So there has been, during the first 4 years, which just ended last year, there has been, we went to these easy wrecks. So the ones that were smaller vessels, quite new vessels in quite shallow waters. So to practice, to learn and see how everything works out. And now the plan for hopefully the summer 24 is the warship Ilmarinen that sank outside Uta in, I think, 47 in Christmas. It has, the estimation is that it has about 100 cubic meters of oil. And that, well, the special thing with that one is that it has, together with it, down went 271 Navy of personnel. So it's a sanctuary, and things need to be done in a way that this sanctuary stays protected. And of course, you probably know that the wreck of ferry Estonia was emptied about maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago or something, but it was not totally emptied because that was done with the robots, and we didn't go in the wreck, and the tanks that were towards the bottom, those we couldn't access. So now it's leaking every summer. Small is like we saw on the presentation, that there's this one plop, plop, plop. And when it comes to the surface, if you touch it, it disappears. It's like so thin, you cannot recover it. We are trying to figure out, should we plot it, or what should we do with the leakage of the wreck? Although it seems it comes from an engine room, so it might be that it is a very minor amount of oil. But anyway, what else do I have to say? Maybe, yeah. And this Ilmarinen emptying, that will be done by a commercial company. So they will launch a tender from the Finnish Environment Institute quite shortly. I think it was planned to be launched already last year, but there is some delays. This, as far as I know, this call for tenders will have an element of also responding to the oil if it leaks while emptying the tanks, or while doing some test holes for the tanks. But also the government is planning to place some oil recovery readiness in the area, or at least close by. And then finally, I would like to remind, we heard about EMSA and the international cooperation. 1.5 years ago, Finland and Estonia together sent a letter to EU to ask EU to look into the problem of wrecks leaking and the high costs and specialized knowledge that is required, but the Commission has not replied as to date. Oh, thank you for possibility to say a few words on behalf of my colleagues. Thanks.
You mentioned Ilmarinen as the next project. Is there any developments with the German Zerstörer Z36?
I think the tests are difficult because if I have understood correctly, there is a lot of ammo that needs to be taken out, and that they have what is it called? Raivaus. Anyway, they have taken some of the explosions, but they cannot be sure that there is no more. So then it's posing a risk. But this is kind of like Navy is doing it, kind of like the earlier at least a lot of Navy divers training courses were working with the wrecks and issues related, but the tests are difficult.
Do you able to give any numbers how many shipwrecks has been emptied in Finland in total?
15 would be a good guess. So the first big one was Park Victory, and that was done in 2 phases. So I think in total in 5 summers we were working there, and that was a vessel with a goal
Cargo.
As cargo, and the goal actually caused a lot of problems because in the first summers we were emptying the oil from the tanks, but then we had to remove the goal to reach further tanks, and then we had to buy a mammoth pump and pump out the goal. And that was a big project, but 450 cubics was removed. Then we have had the Estonia, Jutenfelman, now I cannot remember, Kuularu, a couple of smaller ones during 3, 4, 5 years. But let's say 10 to 15. Yep. Aitäh.
Thank you, Heli. And now for our final closing remarks. And here to present it is our CEO in the Environmental Investment Center, Andrus Treier, please.
Thank you, Ivy, and thank you for you who have the patience to stay here still after the long and interesting day with a couple of changes in the agenda. Yes, I'm Andrus Treier, and I'm here just to say a few words about what we did in the project. And actually, we were the guilty ones, I would say, that this project happened because we were quite heavily involved in the beginning of the project in writing the application to our dear colleagues in Finland, NEFCO, to find suitable financing. And all the way up to today, basically, Ivy has been the project leader for that project. So about Environmental Investment Center, we have been in Estonia since year 2000, and during that period we have helped to materialize about 30,000 different projects in Estonia. So we basically to support in a way or another about anything between 1,500 to 2,500 projects per annum. So it's quite a lot. And basically what we are involved is
if there is anything what needs to be done on behalf of the state on very practical level regarding the environment, then EIC is the kind of practical arm of the state to basically to motivate different parties to carry on important projects. But of course, I mean, the projects vary a lot. For example, we have some student excursions in the natural sites in Estonia, very small things. But on the other side, we are also responsible connected to the marine affairs as well. We are doing the offshore wind preparatory project for the state as well, which is kind of a couple of billion worth of projects. So it really varies a lot. But we have done many things, and we have not actually been very much involved so far regarding marine activities. Yes, there are some projects. We have about 50 different types of things we do for the environment, starting from the ecological systems, supporting the renewable energy, circular economy, and now also the private forestry, for example, in Estonia. And historically, we have been very much involved in the sewage and water purification and water management systems in Estonia. And I'm happy to say that all of the probably many of you use also these sewage systems, which are renovated thanks to our activities. And this connects us maybe more closely to sea as well, because the water coming from the purification factories is going to the rivers and lakes, and it's ending up to the seas. So we have been involved. And the other thing, of course, is that we have been involved in some of the fishery activities, not very kind of production plants, but this kind of smaller projects, and done together. We have financed different university research projects as well, and we do actually finance about 30 to 40 different research projects regarding universities, regarding the nature, regarding different fields. So a lot of things. But why I'm talking about that is also that in addition to direct grants and loans we provide, we also to carry out projects as a project manager. And we do usually this with the kind of help of different parties. And this is one of the good example of this kind of projects where we have financier from Finland bringing together different ministries, which is a kind of good case. For example, Ministry of Climate and Ministry of Internal Affairs. Also, the Navy is somewhat involved now. And we saw all the details and tricks what it needs to be done in order to materialize this kind of cooperation. And this is one of the missions what we as an organization do in Estonia, that we really don't care what kind of parties we should involve, and what kind of agreements and what kind of teams we should build up in order to make some project happen if it's needed for the Estonian environment, and we can find the financing for that. And it's on practical level. Disclaimer is that we are not on political level, that's the ministry's job. But if it's like on very practical level and you need some kind of counterparties with the state involvement to bring together, then this is basically the mission what we try to do and achieve in Estonia. And as we already heard that there is a lot things to do, a lot of things to do regarding the shipwrecks as well in Baltic Sea. There are hundreds and thousands of shipwrecks in Baltic Sea, and what we do in Estonia and Finland is just a kind of minor thing, like this project was like regarding 3 shipwrecks, but it's kind of piece by piece coming together, and one kind of piece can do a lot of harm if something bad happens. So this is kind of a general approach in environmental side. So of course it doesn't depend on very big steps we take, but the small
things we do. And this is the project as a good example. So there is still, like we already saw, a long list to go. Hopefully we with the ministry and other partners, we can find some solutions regarding the financing as well. And to have this kind of short list shorter and shorter over the time regarding shipwrecks, but regarding munition, different hazardous kind of substances, there is still a lot of to do, that's clear. But in addition to this kind of technical issues, there is a kind of bureaucracy issues as well, believe me. And this is basically what we try to kind of make easier to tackle all the procurement rules and all the different, I don't know, even contacting different people. Like today's program, it was kind of, I understood that it was not so easy as it actually has been ended up so far. So there is a lot of things to do. And regarding this project as well, some of you know that it was not so easy on that side as well. There was a kind of several procurements. The cost was rising because of the inflationary reasons, for example, etc., etc. But it is actually very good that we could all solve these kind of administrative issues as well. And it's kind of good thing. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that we can cope many challenges if we try to cooperate, and this good example of cooperation between the ministries, agencies, and even between the countries, and all for the one goal, which is Baltic Sea. And I strongly believe, being economist actually from my background as well, and that if we don't have the pure and good shaped Baltic Sea, then actually we have many implications on everyday lives and the economy as well. So it's kind of important thing to do. And of course, cooperation is not going on without the people. So first of all, of course, I present my gratitude on behalf of EIC to, first of all, to IVI Liikmed, who is responsible for the project in EIC and have been in contact with many of you. Of course, many people we already saw today. On background, also Kaspar Andersson from the Ministry of Climate has been helping us regarding all the technical details and administrative technical details, I would say that way. Then we saw Mati Kose, of course, big applause, because of the basically starting from the police and border department nowadays in Estonian Navy, but still very much involved in the project. And we saw from the presentation that he's kind of patient about all these projects. And Marge Kohtla, of course, being on his place when he was going away. Then we already heard about Maili Royo's presentation as well from the National Heritage Board, and we understand that it's one side is heritage, and in addition to pollution, that we are actually playing with a part of the history in that field and history of humanity. And of course, Ivar Treffner and Kaido Peremees, who already presented the case, and without you guys, we probably would not have had such a nice presentations and outcomes from that, because everybody else was more or less sitting in the office, and you were in the harsh environment, which is a lot less convenient than we do have today here. So it was kind of a really big effort. So once again, I just want to thank you, and if you have any good ideas how to cooperate in the future, we're here to help and help you materialize this. So this is where we can end the day, or would you like to add anything more? So anyway, okay, thank you for the patience, and I see one question there as well. So
I just wanted to correct one technical issue. Also, Maili Royo from Heritage Board. She was very deeply involved in this project as well, and I will say or use a chance to say a gratitude from project team side as well.
I hope I was mentioning you. Yes. But anyway, gratitude is always good power to start new things and continue with this. So I thank you again on behalf of the project team, and hopefully we'll have some material projects in the future as well. Thank you.